Hey everyone, I wanted to hop on here for a moment because, as most of you know, I've had an interesting, somewhat personal and political transformation over the past 3 to 4 years, mostly talking about moving from the radical progressive ideology to a more conservative stance, which I believe when you get older and have a brain happens naturally. However, I've commented on the recent tragedies in California. As a lot of you know, I lived there for most of my adult life. I actually lived in the Palisades, in Topanga Canyon, and a lot of the surrounding areas that were directly affected by the fires. And for those of you who don't know, I've pretty much shifted careers from being a health and fitness person into the policy and politics space. I went back to Pepperdine to get my master's in public policy. My undergraduate was in public policy. So for those of you who are somewhat shocked by my new turn of career and kind of sudden outspoken manner around political issues, it doesn't come out of nowhere. That was always my first love, politics. I diverged from that after college, had a different career, but here I am back in the thick of it. What I feel is an important moment in time. So I commented on the local and state level response, government response to the fires, which was abysmal. It was horrible. Yes, fires are going to happen. No, you can't control the wind, but there were so many preventative things that can be done. I don't want to get into that in this video. I got some backlash from that, though, particularly from my more liberal friends that live in California, that no matter what the consequences, are determined to stick to a political ideology that does not serve them, that actually harms them, that takes money out of their pockets. Almost, it's like a drip feed. They just keep throwing money at a government that doesn't do anything for them, except for pay Gavin Newsom's dinners at French Laundry. I tell you that story to give you some context for what I'm about to say. So not too long ago, in response to the fires, a friend of mine from California posted a video by a girl named Lee McGowan. She goes by I Am Politics Girl on Instagram, I believe. She's got thousands and thousands of followers on all of her social media feeds, probably on TikTok. I'm not on TikTok. I never will be on TikTok, and maybe all of us will never be on TikTok again. Who's see how that plays out. Has met Joe Biden apparently, been on CNN, and claims to be a Politico. She was giving all the typical talking points of the left and why the devastation in California was not Gavin Newsom's fault, that you can't point the finger at our local officials. Karen Bass had nothing to do with it. There was nothing to be done. This was a force of nature and climate change. I'll respond to that briefly because the government has one job. That is to protect the people from shit like that happening, from absolute devastation in the Palisades and the natural lands. There is a million things, okay, maybe not a million, but there's a lot of things they could have done to be better prepared for this and to have officials in place. I'm not going to get into the nitty gritty of it, but I did become curious about who this girl was. Where did she come from? Did she work on the Hill? Did she work in state and local government? Did she have a degree in policy or government affairs or government administration? Maybe even communications, political communications. Found her on LinkedIn, and I'm going to read you her credentials. Freelance writer, social media influencer, professional photographer, freelance writer, actress, acquisitions and development. So in short, this girl is not only not educated in politics or any of the relevant areas of expertise, but doesn't even have any practical experience in these things. Now, don't get me wrong. I am not saying you need a master's degree from Harvard or even an undergraduate degree. Charlie Kirk is a political force. The guy never graduated college. But you should have read Aristotle, Locke, Rousseau, de Tocqueville, Constitution, Federalist Papers, Declaration of Independence, maybe? I don't know. That's a good start. The charters, compacts, and covenants that preceded all those documents to understand the political philosophy and history of this country. You may want to dig into those a little bit more before you start influencing thousands and thousands of people on politics, particularly women who, let's face it, tend to be swayed more by emotion and less by reason and logic. And I realize what I say is an opinion, but I try to support my opinion with facts and with intellectual rigor and philosophical knowledge. But getting your politics information from this girl is like getting your information from The View. I'm not saying you shouldn't listen to Leah McGowan or that she can't have an opinion. What I would ask you to do is just consider the source of where you're getting your political information and get it from a wide range of perspectives. I get the Washington Post, the LA Times, the New York Times. I listen to more conservative podcasts. Of course I do. I listen to alternative podcasts. I take that all and then try to distill it down based on my understanding of this country and what I know to be true. Facts are still facts. Men and women are different. There are only two sexes. And we really need to understand what the role of the government is and what it's not supposed to be doing. The main purpose of the government is to protect its citizens from terrors, both foreign and domestic, from things like wildfires, to prevent havoc and devastation amongst its people, like those in Southern California. It isn't supposed to be telling companies who to hire or imposing ridiculous standards of environmental governance on corporations. That's not what it's here to do. Imagine you hired someone to come clean your house, and when you came home, there was dog dew and cat litter and clothes strewn everywhere, unmade beds and dirty bathrooms. Would you pay that person? Would you hire them again? I'm pretty sure not. Why are we paying our government to do things it's not supposed to do and failing at the things it is supposed to do? That's exactly the experience we've been having the past 4 years. We have been hiring people who don't do their jobs. A lot of Trump's first 2 days have been rolling back the overextension of government. If you are curious about any of the readings, the authors, the wisdom of any of these philosophers that I mentioned, curious about seeing the country through that lens as opposed through the lens of identity politics, which only sees it by race and gender and whatever identifies our outer characteristics, I'd be happy. I would be thrilled to send you some of those. But again, please just be a little discerning about where you're getting your information.